Now then, everybody, welcome back. It's been far too long. I know I promised this was going to be very quick on the heels of the last video, but stuff has happened and lots of exciting news in the pipeline, which I'll share as soon as I can. So what I'm going to do now, it's long overdue. There's my line drawing, just to recap. All of that wall was done in one continuous line, i.e. not lifting my pen from the page. There's the reference photograph. It's not the most gripping of scenes, but I was struck by the contrast of the whitewashing. So I'm going to try and add some colour quickly and make sense of it. I don't know if you remember, I think the original drawing took about 7 or 8 minutes to do maximum, so I'm going to try and be as speedy with the colour. So I'm adding some blue. My go-to colour for skies tends to be cobalt blue. We'll add some, this is Daniel Smith's paints. This is Daniel Smith's green gold. I'm just adding that to the base of there. And then probably need a finer brush. These are my brushes from Etcher, just to remind everybody. Let's put it that way around. Fabulous brushes. You know, for synthetic brushes, they really hold paint well, and they do, let's have a look. They do go to a really fine point for detail work. So what I'm doing here is just putting the green in, which is kind of the lawn area in front of the cottage. For those who always ask, how do you decide what not to paint? Well, this is a fairly obvious decision in this case, because the washing's white, so that's a fairly easy one to do. Let's pick up a different green now. Let me just show you now, because people are always asking. This palette is one of these. It's a Derwent line and wash palette, and some of the colours are fantastic. That green is a lovely, and it tones really nicely with the Daniel Smith tints. So let's put that in there. The other palette I'm using is this one. This is a Daniel Smith palette. Added all my favourite colours in. Green gold, sap green, undersea green, which needs refilling, cadmium yellow. I don't know what that yellow is. That's Viridian, cadmium red, quinacridone gold, deep gold, quinacridone red, cobalt blue, that's cerulean blue, and that's indigo. So actually I'm looking at this now, and the paint I've put on already is probably as much as I will use. There's a building behind there. You know, I'm tending not to. Let's put some bit more colour up here. That's quinacridone gold. Bit more along the roof line. Looking at the drawing, I think it probably, there you go. I love when this happens. Look, get some colours mixing on the page. Fabulous. It sometimes, not always works out the way you want it to, but that's the one of the things I love about the unpredictability of watercolour. And do you know what? I know I'm going to be a cop-out here, but I actually think that's probably as much colour as I would put on. The sketch was fast, so I'm hoping this colour is going to be fast. I think if I tried to, I hope you can get the point of it, that if I tried to then, let's bring the photograph in again, if I tried to get all this colour in then on the cottages and the stone walls, etc., don't think it'd work as well as it looks to me. Let's put some dark up there, bit of splash. You can do this with a nice wet wash. Oh, and look, some trees seem to have appeared on the horizon. At least that's what they'll be when I've finished, because I'll just put a line around them and pretend it's an outbreak of some trees. So I think that's it in terms of the colour, but I think what I do need to do, if I can find the correct pen, oh, I've left the pen in the inside. I'm currently in my shed studio at the moment, so I've left the one I've been using, but I've got a few to choose from. So let's take this. I'm gonna have to be very careful. A bit of dried paint there, and let's put some lines on for some interest. That pen's dried out, so where's the other one gone? Good grief, you'd think I don't want you to think I'm carefully planned and prepared for this. I'm just doing really sketchy lines, look, to give this some interest, some tonal interest, because without the lines it looks just like a shape. I think it's probably a rhomboid shape, if I can remember my schoolboy maths. In there's some stonework, so let's just put an idea of some kind of shapes behind there, and we'll put some tone behind that line of washing there and along there. So that kind of gives you a hint that that's not just a triangular random pattern, that there's a kind of a structure there. If I can get me, see, this is very wet. I love using really wet washes, but they're a bit of a handicap if you're not working methodically. Oh, there you go. Hand on it there. Let's put the some window tone in, some value in there. That's a solid one. And that, I've just noticed actually there's a window there. Now, even though this is a 0.8, look, you can still get a spidery line by turning the pen on its shoulder slightly, which is what I'm doing now, just to, and we'll extend this, look. And there is the roof of a kind of a lean-to, I think. I remember drawing the initial line work with my Kaweco sport pen full of waterproof ink. We'll put a window in there. And I think there's probably a window on that porch. I can't see. The reference photograph isn't as detailed or as defined as I would like, but this is fine. Let's put some window in there. I don't normally like to put these dark values in with a pen, and I just spotted there's another window on the drawing there, so we'll pop that in right in the crease of this sketchbook. And coming down there, and let's see if I can turn this round. I actually think that's probably as much as I can do. Let's just thicken up this top line because it stood out from the background before the colour was on, but that's now been kind of diffused a little. Again, these thick pens are great for adding this kind of a profile line. This might not work because the wash of the lawn, oh it is, it's drying out now, so we'll do that. And that's the top of that. And I think this is probably, I'm going to try and, there's a doorway there, so I'll just hint at that with some vertical lines. Again, you wouldn't think that was a 0.8, would you? But again, I'm using the shoulder, and here's, I'm going to put another window in there. And do this. Again, these pens are fantastic for doing this kind of work. You've still got there. I'm going to put a shadow under that eave there. We'll put some detail up here because there is some stonework on the chimney stack. And then we'll do the same exercise there. Look, we'll put some and then if I can very quickly, you see, so much for it being a quick demo. I'm up to 12 minutes now, so what I'm going to do is very quickly add some shadow detail. Sorry, I'll pull it, try and keep it on camera. Shadow, that's too blue. So let's have a bit more. Now, where's my Payne's grey? It's there. That's better. Right. That's darker. Let's now add this all the way under this eaves. These eaves, not this eaves. There. And then I think the light, direction of the light, let's keep it in the viewpoint. Direction of light is kind of from above, so I think what I'm going to do is add the shadow to this side of the chimney. There. And a slight cast shadow there. And then it's these tiny things, these you don't need much detail, but it's the important ones that you need to keep in. I'm putting a shadow on this edge of that, and we'll put kind of a shadow under those eaves. And then what we need to do is to kind of put a shadow on these bits of washing that are kind of overlapping the other ones, and perhaps one or two kind of creases and folds, and see what they'd be like. Not too realistic, but there. So there you go, that's the finished. I'm not going to put any more detail on, but I just hope you'll agree. Oh, one last thing, it's dry enough, so what I'm going to do is quickly just look. Pretend that they're a clump of trees, and yes, I know I've just put some lines around some blue there, but that's quickly amended by just quickly picking up some of that and extending the green into that. And yeah, the lines I've just put in there were with that 0.8. Shouldn't have used that pen because it's spread slightly into the wet wash. Let's add a bit more texture so you can still read the scene. And we'll put now, because it's drying there, we'll complete all that wall texture so you can read it now. It's behind this this shape here, which was a bush, graphic representation of a bush, because I've gone over with the roof there a bit more, and we'll do this. I've brought the wall there because I can. And look, I know I said I wouldn't put any more detail in, but let's just flesh out a bit more of this, but I will stop now. There you go, no more detail, but I hope you think that's okay. And I know I've said this before, but I honestly promise it won't be as long before my next video. Thank you all for watching and for your continued support. Take care. Bye for now.